Hey everyone, welcome back to a North Texas Weather Center forecast, and today what we're looking at is the potential for severe weather both tonight and tomorrow night across North Texas, and this is everything that you need to know for both days, including the potential for damaging winds, large hail, and also potential for a few tornadoes as well. I'll break down both days for you, the exact timing, and everything that you need to know for both days. So let's go ahead and get started with today's potential for severe weather, as that's the most incoming severe weather potential. You can see there's a slight risk of severe weather for areas like Wichita Falls tonight, far back off to our northwest, primarily southwestern Oklahoma, and far northwestern North Texas. Again, that would include this area here, closer to areas like Wichita Falls. That would include the best chance for some large hail up the size of golf balls and maybe damaging wind gusts up to about 70 miles per hour or so. You can also see there's a marginal risk that does extend into basically western portions of North Texas, so like Jacksboro, Bowie, Graham, Eastland are all included in a marginal risk for some severe storms tonight. It will be pretty isolated, I think, close to the Metroplex, but it'll be an area to watch tonight. Let's go and take a look at the temperatures. This will have something to do with what's happening today. You can see the temperatures back out to the west in the low 90s. That'll be enough to weaken the cap, just enough for those severe storms to be possible today. Here in DFW, we're only going to get into low 80s, so the cap will remain fairly strong here in DFW today. So that's why we're not going to really see much of a severe weather potential for today. Going into the overnight hours into tomorrow morning, most of us will wake up into the low 60s, so it should be a pretty mild morning tomorrow. The humidity out there as well, it's a completely different story today and tomorrow. You can see that dew points today in DFW will reach the mid-50s, so it's not, ideal for severe weather. Back out to the west, you can see dew points in the low 60s. That is definitely prime for this type of severe weather that we'll see tonight. You can see eventually overnight, dew points will not really be that great here in DFW. Even by the time the storms get here, dew points are still going to be right around 55 degrees, which means a low-end chance for maybe a strong storm exists, but other than that, severe weather is not really looking likely here for DFW tonight. Tomorrow's a different story. You can see the dew points really skyrocket. A lot of us will be in the mid to upper 60s, even some low 70s near College Station. So obviously the humidity is going to be a lot higher tomorrow, and that will be that best chance for some severe weather for all of North Texas, primarily tomorrow. Let's take a look at tonight, and then we'll go more into tomorrow's forecast. You can see we'll stay dry for most of this afternoon. If you have any afternoon plans, we will stay dry. Wichita Falls may be on the lookout. If you have any evening plans outdoors, make sure you're aware of maybe a couple of thunderstorms. You can see right around 8 o'clock tonight, a couple of storms already developing just north of Abilene. Eventually by about 10 o'clock, a few more storms start to develop around Abilene. Maybe a couple of isolated showers or downpour here closer to the DFW Metroplex. By 11, another storm might develop. It's going to be kind of hit or miss for most of us. You might see a storm, you might not. About a 40 or 50% chance for Wichita Falls tonight. Eventually by 1 in the morning, a couple of isolated downpours, maybe an isolated rumble of thunder with one of these, but I don't expect any severe weather here in the Metroplex tonight. By 3 o'clock, most of this is fizzling out, and then will eventually dry out most likely for tomorrow morning. An isolated shower will be possible tomorrow, so don't be completely shocked if you see something during the morning hours. All right, obviously this is the bigger risk is going to be tomorrow. Let's go ahead and zoom out just a little smidge here. So you can see all of DFW is now under an enhanced risk for severe weather for tomorrow, and this is primarily for the evening hours. So you can see the potential for damaging winds is going to be our main threat. Hail up the size of maybe golf balls or hen eggs can't be rolled out of a few storms. That's going to be a bit of a middle threat. And then a tornado or two will also be possible out of these storms. That would primarily be in this orange shaded region for all three of those threats, with the exception maybe that slight risk area having a couple of isolated thunderstorms that are severe as well. You can see the areas included in the enhanced risk does include Gainesville, Denton. It includes the entire 4-county Metroplex. Mineral Wells also included in that. Jacksboro and Bowie right on the line. Other than that, western and far northern North Texas are included in a slight risk. None of us are in a marginal or less risk. So we all have basically the same exact risk, either a slight or an enhanced risk. So just keep that in mind. We're not really nobody's really out of the question, at least for tomorrow in the DFW area. All right, taking a look at the future radar. This is obviously, again, what we're going to be looking at for tomorrow night. You can see right around noontime, a couple of storms will develop in Oklahoma. That will not be of a concern to us. Eventually, by about 3 o'clock, a few isolated showers, plenty of moisture will be in the atmosphere. You can see some rising showers will kind of go off to the north. Nothing crazy by any means. But eventually, by about 4 o'clock, storms will begin to blow up, especially in Oklahoma. That's where our initial spot we'll be watching is going to be in Oklahoma. By about 5 o'clock, more thunderstorms developing as far west as maybe areas like Childress, as well as Wichita Falls, kind of in that marginal or just on the low end slight risk areas. Eventually by 6 o'clock, a lot of these storms start to develop. More of a hail threat out of these I would expect initially, maybe a damaging wind threat as well. A tornado or two cannot be ruled out of one of these cells as well. Eventually by about 7 o'clock, a lot of storm activity does exist in far northwestern North Texas. 8 o'clock, we can start to see this line starts to kind of push toward DFW. kind of moving in about a southeasterly direction. At least it looks like maybe an outflow boundary could bring these storms to the Metroplex. By 9 o'clock, you can see this is a very potent line of storms with definitely plenty of energy available, so we'll definitely see at least some sort of severe weather here in DFW. And look at these like purples and even a little bit of white there. That's going to represent your large hail and also very heavy rain. So we obviously need the rain. So any rain that we get out of this would be very beneficial. Back out to our west, maybe a discrete supercell or two. This will be an area to watch as well. If something like this does occur, a tornado threat will be basically the highest tornado threat would be out of a storm like this. So in one of these supercell thunderstorms. By about 10 o'clock, storms are moving through the Metroplex. Lots of rain with this as well, so that's very beneficial. But obviously, these storms will definitely produce a damaging wind threat, maybe some large hail along with that. By about midnight, most of us will start to see the most of this thunder and lightning move out to our east and as well as down to our south. The severe weather will primarily be south of I-20 and east of I-35 at this point. And then about 2 in the morning, all of us should be dried out here in the four-county Metroplex, and eventually going to Tuesday, we will all dry out. Tuesday will be actually fairly warm, by the way. Taking a look at the temperatures heading into Monday, many of us will only reach the low 70s, so just keep that in mind. Back out to the northwest will only be in the 50s, so severe weather not as likely there. But going into Tuesday, it's actually fairly warm before a cold front finally comes through Wednesday, where temperatures will drop into the 60s for highs, so that'll be something to keep in mind. Let's go ahead and take a look. We can't take a look at the 7-day forecast, so that's going to be for the forecast. Make sure to check out our website, ntxweathercenter.com, for the latest 7-day forecast, also the Severe Weather Center, and also make sure to follow us on Facebook and YouTube for the latest. This forecast is brought to you by Platinum Contracting, all dense repair in Birdie's Pro Turf.